Well, we're live.
All right, welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is evil.
Classic.
Classic.
Welcome, revelers. All right. So, question: can you hear signals back? Great.
Yeah,
So-
we can hear you.
Good news, bad news. Bad news is you don't really have to look at me except for the tiny little picture that's my avatar.
That's the good news. So it's
Thank
really
God, yeah.
it's really a win-win.
Well, I mean, when it has some light, I'll jump back on video. But for now,
Hey.
it's the avatar.
At least his avatar has a t-shirt and a hat, so you don't have to see his shoulders and bald head.
It is called. It's buzz cut. Motherfucker.
Oh, I meant
Anyway.
5 head. I meant 5 head. Sorry.
5 head.
Anyways, let's introduce these people to us.
All right. Well, this is of course versus left. This is the show, as our intro says. We're doing it because the left is eating everywhere, and you guys need to open your eyes, wake up, and look at what's going on around you. The one that's the avatar, with me as always,
Bradley.
And
And-
Brian G.
You
And
are
he would be known
leftist. Go ahead, Rob.
I said the big old fluffy leftist
Sympathizer.
He's actually fairly conservative. He just still thinks they're human beings, and
Fairly conservative. Fairly good. Been my whole life. I've never been a left leaner. Ever. I remember taking a test in elementary school that you answered some questions and basic questions, and it'd tell you if you're a liberal or a Republican or conservative. And man, I was way in conservative side even as elementary school.
tested liberal. If you tested liberal, they'd waterboard you until you got your shit together. Oh, board you.
No,
No.
if you would have tested liberal, they would have advanced him in classes.
Yeah, I probably would have skipped a couple grades.
Anyway, so State of the Union. Okay,
Oh God.
so not only because Joe Biden's
No, wait, Rob. Before you start going into the State of the Union,
Oh, yeah.
tell me if you think that it's really odd that everything you're about to say about the State of the Union, we talked about yesterday before the State of the Union, and then the only thing that we didn't discuss was treating our children like baggage and the price of airlines or
Well,
them
maybe.
resort fees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, with Biden being hard on all the ridiculous fees, he's going to get rid of all of the government's ridiculous fees too. We're still paying a World War II excise in every cell phone bill, and they didn't even have cell phones in World War II. So I'm just
Well,
if we're going to talk
here's
about
something that's funny. I don't know if you've seen that Proud Family clip off of Disney Plus when they're talking about how slaves built this country. They plowed the land from sea to sea to sea. I'm like, there were no slaves in California, Oregon, or Washington. So I think you only mean there's only 2 seas there that are involved.
yeah.
Well, I guess there would be
they-
3 C's being the person that's saying this
As
stuff.
far as they're concerned, slaves were everywhere in the U.S. There is no
Right.
exceptions. Everywhere had slaves.
So yeah, and they're kind of all it's literally licenses where there were slaves. That's the reality of the slavery. And
right.
They talk about white people paying their. I'm pretty sure the million people from the North that died in the Civil War to free the paid that debt in blood.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to
my
make the
family
main point that there were no slaves on the West Coast ever.
So, and that was actually a big part of the kickoff of the tension pre-Civil War was the fact that they wanted slaves in Texas, and the deal was.
Yeah, the argument was that the South wanted the expansion of slavery into the new territories and new states, and the North was saying no, we're not going to stop slavery because that'll cause a civil war, but we will not allow the expansion of
new territories,
into the new territories and new future states.
So and the reality is what the South probably did was screw up the slavery that England did.
Does anybody know where that rail is that we're supposed to be on?
I think it's the next room.
It was something about the State of the Union, but now we're talking about.
Well, I took us off track when I started talking about the Disney Plus's bullshit.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just gonna wrap that thought though. Most of the countries in the world, they left slavery alone and just said any new generation buy slaves and you can't sell slaves. So basically, like if you died, if your slaves had kids, their kids were not slaves. Over the course of like a generation and a half, slavery disappeared in Europe. There wasn't an immediate ban. When England ended the slave trade, there was still slaves in English territories for like another 80 years or so. While they like go and try and point to Europe getting rid of slaves, they didn't get rid of trade, which we had already ended. The only new slaves in the United States were really fucked up. So, anyway,
the kiss
that's
around the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so the Union.
Talk about the kiss, Rob. Come on. This started with porn.
What kiss?
You didn't see the kiss? You said you watched the State of the Union.
No, what kiss are you talking about? Like, it's not hitting me right now.
Dr. Biden. Dr. Biden and Mr. Harris.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I didn't actually.
You didn't see.
No, it's a fucking bite.
She straight up went in and kissed him on the lips, bro.
Harris did?
Yeah.
Dude, I was doing it while I was driving, so I had it on, but I was just more listening to it than anything.
So like he first comes out with his lips pursed like this to give her a kiss, and like he's going for her cheek, and she goes and fucking moves right in and gets him dead smack dab on the lips.
Okay, well,
maybe that's how she got
Joe and Kamala.
Maybe that's how she got the VP position.
Yeah, well,
Joe's a cuck, and he and the second honest, gentleman had
Joe didn't know what was going on. He couldn't see that far. The lights were too bright.
I guess know now why we see lots of footage of Kamala Harris leaving than we see her husband leaving it.
Yeah. All right, so that's how it started.
Anyway, okay. So yeah, no, I did it. So to start off with, I loved his message of unity. Follow like every about minute and a half, slamming half the country.
Yeah,
that was
because beautiful. he knows the country wants to work together to get things done, but he's not willing to do it. But he wants to give that message like he wants to do it.
I'll put it this way: he has unified the country. Over 70% of the he's taken him or whoever his puppeteer is, or end up his ass and making his mouth flat.
So I think that was a lot of non-pharmaceutical drugs.
Oh, dude, he like
maybe some
definitely
pharmaceuticals in there too.
Dude, and as steady as he stayed through an hour and 10 minutes, so geeky he was walking around for another 45 minutes after the speech. It's fucking crazy. You heard that, right? Like after the speech was over, he kept walking around.
I'm gonna be honest. All I caught was the lowlights. I wasn't gonna watch that piece of shit.
I didn't watch it after.
Because I watched Dan Bongino and Michael Knowles and Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. I see all the important stuff. Like
once he was done talking, it was like, turn this off. I'm done. I can't stand watching it anymore.
Dude, all right. I saw him take the podium. That's what I saw, like literally live. I was like, you know what? I'm not watching this. I can't do it. I can't do it.
So the first thing he talked about in the State of the Union. So like he opened up by talking about Russia and Ukraine. I'm pretty sure. Right about now, as bad as it may be, about $8 eggs than Ukraine. Just saying.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but that is how he kicked it off. Russia miscalculated. Well, duh. But a year ago, it seems like no. No, that's right. Before the State of the Union, he was saying that. Making sure I got my timeline right here.
So he said that he'll veto any abortion ban that makes it to his desk.
Yeah.
When did he say that? Was that his mumbling words?
No, he said it in there. And if they said, he mentioned the attempt to abolish the abortion throughout the country, and that if a bill comes to his desk by the House, that he would veto it. Absolutely.
But he said that he would veto something else that I just couldn't understand.
Yeah, anything about Social Security and Medicare. He said he'd veto.
The specific.
No, he said something.
I'm trying to answer your question, Brad.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so the things that he said threats about were an abortion ban, repealing, or not, okay, Affordable Health Care Act, any rollbacks on entitlements, and cutting up his Green New Deal, including his 87,000 IRS agents that has. So basically what he said is, I'm going to veto everything Republicans want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so he said he was going to veto a bunch of shit, but there was one specific thing that he said that I just was a bunch of gibberish, and I don't know what that one specific thing was.
I think it was when he was talking about Social Security and Medicare that he just like started fucking rambling like he does.
It was like just before he said that he would veto it. It was, God, I can pull it up on Dan, but go ahead, keep going. I'll tell you. I'll interrupt later.
So anyway, but yeah, so he was like, now one of the biggest things of tooting his horn about his accomplishments.
Yeah.
So he was like infrastructure bill, which increased inflation like crazy. Like building a house right now because all those construction supplies are being purchased by the infrastructure projects, and in 2 years, you know how many are complete? completed?
Done.
One, a heated sidewalk in like New Hampshire town of like 50,000 people.
Mhm.
That's it.
He loves
Just
to
broke
talk
ground
about
on
it, though.
a bridge.
Those bridges were racist.
Well, you know, all bridges are. I'm pretty sure he didn't have any problem with the budget for building a wall around his house, though. Oh, maybe that was to keep FBI agents out. Just pay. So I was missing, and I have the same bitch about. Well, okay. Response, and this is what I say. The Republicans in the midterms, they did not. They articulated problems. He articulated some problems, and the wrong. Like he, although I will say he when God, that was funny. The president getting heckled during the State of the Union.
I think we need more of that personally. Like
Yeah.
we need to be like Canada and the EU. Like you're representing me. I do not want to sit there and listen to this guy lie and not be called out on his lies.
Right.
Well, I love how he went into the Republicans want to cut Social Security and Medicare,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody started booing him, and he goes, "Well, not all of you, not even a majority of you, but there are some of you, and if you want to see it, call me. I'll send you the copy
Yeah.
of it."
It's one guy.
And at the end, he's finally like, "Okay, so we have a consensus. Nobody wants to do it. Great. I'll remember that in the future. Nobody here wants to cut it." It's like, oh God, you are such an idiot. Jesus.
Yeah.
And what do you define as a cut? Do you define a cut as in cutting it, or do you find a cut in it to what it was supposed to be, and getting all the people that are not supposed to be getting Social Security off of it?
Well, it was meant to be people that basically lost all their money, had nothing for retirement, and it went in to help them.
Exactly. So please explain to me why somebody that has $50 million in the bank, as long as they don't have current income,
Yeah, I agree.
why are they getting mad when they have $50 million in assets?
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
so maybe a health problem can wipe out your savings, but I'm pretty sure you can afford to actually buy some insurance.
Which that was put together during the Great Depression to help those people that lost everything and basically would be homeless and living off nothing when they couldn't work anymore.
Yeah. So at the end of the talk about the State of the Union, I have an announcement to make. Me and Brad.
Do you have an announcement to make?
Yeah.
Oh, he went to another donkey show, dude. He didn't tell you?
Nice.
Oh man, dude,
Oh,
I
he
can't.
knew that
Oh,
would just make me
God.
sick. So he knew that'd
Thank
make me
you. That
sick,
took
so he
you too
slipped it
long.
out to spare me the trouble.
I have no clue what he's talking about.
Laughing at you.
I almost fucking got him in a headlock.
So
Said, you're
anyway,
taking the sexy stud.
he
Anyways, go.
basically spent an hour trying to vilify half of America, touting accomplishments that aren't accomplishments, lying.
Oh no, dude, is your phone gonna overheat?
No, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
You keep cutting out in the middle of your conversation.
Yeah, somebody tried to call again.
Of course.
Everybody I know knows that this time of day we are now broadcasting every single day. Anyway, but what was I saying?
You were talking about some sort of announcement. There wasn't a donkey show.
Right, the donkey show, and then the call threw me off. Like, great that somebody called right after the donkey laughing. Oh yeah, no. After we're about the State of the Union, I have my announcement I was talking about with you on the chat earlier. Anyway, so yeah, so like everything that he was bragging about was failures. He's talking. They put up fake unemployment numbers. We know those numbers are going to be revised down. But even if they are accurate, you know, the last time we had job growth numbers that big under Donald Trump. But the labor force participation rate is still at like historical lows, especially among men. Working age men just aren't working. And guess who does all the hard shit? Working age men.
Well, what got me when he was talking about that was he always fails to mention that the reason the job numbers went up is because we were coming out of a pandemic.
Right.
The government closed everything down. So the reason our numbers were so high when he came into office is because the government closed everything. So naturally, even you could have the dumbest person in the history of the world, which I'm not going to argue that he's not, in office, and the numbers still would have gone up because they opened the markets again.
Exactly.
It would have went from up to even higher.
Yeah.
If he would have just not done anything. All he had to do was be a houseplant. That's all he had to do.
Yeah, we'd be much further now if it was somebody else in office.
Yeah, right. and I think honestly, I think that even Trump screwed up doing the stimulus. Not that I'm going to complain because it saved me with my business crashing.
He screwed up. You're right. He screwed up. He screwed up with closing down the country too.
Yeah,
he screwed up by allowing Fauci to have a voice.
Well, okay, so the initial nobody knew what the fuck was going on, so I can understand the error on the side of caution, but within 30 days we kind of had it, and that's why Texas
hindsight is 2020 because we know a lot more now.
That's why Texas was open by May at 50% and like 100% by July. You know what I mean? So and guess what? We didn't have a bunch of seniors dying in the nursing homes. That was in New York where they were locked down.
Florida opened before we did.
So, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, South Dakota didn't close at all.
Yeah. So anyway, so what we were actually getting in that recovery is the return to the Trump numbers at a rapid pace.
Minus what Biden has lost.
From what leftists did.
Right.
Like here in Texas, the orders were being issued by some leftist judge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or here in Houston.
Same in Dallas. Same in Tarrant County. Parker County was you didn't have to wear masks or anything. I don't know how long they closed for, but
so yeah. So the whole thing is we were on a great track to recovery. There probably would have been some inflation, and that's because there were supply chain disruptions around the world. But if we hadn't pumped so much money in, the inflation wouldn't have been as bad. And Trump did contribute to that. Now, I love that he pointed out that Trump in 4 years trying to compensate for a pandemic that shut down the entire country. And then like the left is keeping half the country closed beyond that, which is why Trump still kept spending money. You get what I'm saying? Like, there still would have been some inflation. But when Biden took office, it was 1.4%. Gasoline was what, 186 or something in Texas, and we saw almost $4 a gallon.
Yeah.
So what was it where you're at, Brian?
The gas prices?
Yeah. Or did you notice because you guys were locked down?
Well, is that during the height they went up to above $5 a gallon? $5.30, $5.40.
Yeah. And then we all saw like $8 and $9 in fucking California because they're insane there.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because it went from what, the 2 whatever it was when Trump was in office to the 5.60 or so when at the height, down to $3, 3 something. Now it's back up to 4.60, and he's touting how great he's done with gas prices.
Yeah, and never mind the fact that our strategic oil reserve is almost gone, and we're on the verge of World War.
Now we have to buy more oil to fill that up again.
Right, and it probably won't be produced in the U.S. because they canceled all existing permits. They started canceling leases. They stopped doing the auctions for the leases. They stopped permitting existing contracts. They canceled the applications.
Well,
then they turn around and go, well, they're not investing to produce. Well, you can't produce without the leases.
Well, and Rob, I love how he mentioned that they weren't wanting to invest in future refineries and stuff because they're like, well, what's the point if you're going to cut all oil? He's like, well, no, we're going to be doing oil for at least another decade, so invest.
Yeah, and everybody started laughing at him owning
billions
himself.
of dollars in infrastructure that is not going to be really online for how many years in the future? And then right as it's going online, you're telling me that we're gonna stop using oil.
The last refinery that was built took 7 years to build, and 4 years of that was going through government red tape.
I know. So you're basically telling these companies, invest the money, and as soon as you get it online, we're gonna shut you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cracks me up because one of Obama's biggest arguments for why they shouldn't push oil companies to invest, why they shouldn't open up those areas is because it takes at least 10 years to get the oil from getting out of the ground to starting that investments, getting it all drilled, getting the oil out of the ground, getting it to the refiners, and getting it onto the market. So there's no point in doing it now because it's going to be at least 10 years before it gets on the market. So they already
and then
10 years, and now they're telling them invest because you have at least 10 years to make money off of it.
They sure are confident that they're going to have 10 years to be able to have a say in any of this, right?
Well, yeah, and I love he wants to put. I love that. I do have an issue with the insulin, but if you're really that concerned about the whole sugar thing, maybe be a little clearer about the negative health consequences of bad diets and being fat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't promote body positivity and then complain about the people that need insulin when you're the one creating diabetic people with your bullshit body positivity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, now it is concerning that there's one company that makes insulin. There's actually an open source project trying to reproduce creating insulin, and they're not having a lot of luck with it, but they're trying to make it so you can produce insulin around the world. But I think all the insulin's produced in Germany or some shit.
Yeah.
The entire world supply is produced in one place. So that's kind of weird to me. But we do know that what price controls actually create, because we watched them do it in this country over and over and over again, is it creates shortages, not supplies, not lower prices. When you limit a company's ability to make money, they stop paying to create their testing. And if you cap it at 35 and
Well, did we lose them? If you cap it at 35.
Okay. Are you guys there?
Yep, we are now.
Hello. Rob.
Hey, what's an AGI? Is that annual gross income?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and he went on about how oh my God. You can't tell me that McDonald's is making... You can't tell me that McDonald's is making their workers sign an agreement saying that they can't go down the street. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Really, who's taking this guy that seriously?
I was laughing so hard too when he said, "There's hamburger joints that make you sign disclosure agreements, so you can't go across the street and work
get a better job.
Hamburger stand."
What is he talking?
Are you kidding me?
Is he talking about Coney Island? I don't understand.
McDonald's is making employees sign non-disclosure agreements? What are they hiding?
He's going to McDonald's and the fucking kids are like, dude, let's fuck with this guy. I bet you he talks about this.
What the artificial recipe is that goes into their artificial meat?
Yeah.
That makes their hamburger so transparent.
If you work at KFC,
tell you a lot of fast food.
If you work at KFC, you cannot go to churches.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
Actually, I was going to say you get exactly that. You get people that work at KFC and work at churches or Taco Bell because they're all only working the people 20 hours a week, so they don't have to give them full-time benefits.
Yeah.
Right. Well, pretty soon it doesn't matter because it's all going to be a kiosk that we go to, and then fucking they're going to mainstream McDonald's idea and freaking make it all robots, dude. So then these people that are bitching about how they want a higher minimum wage aren't going to have a minimum wage because they ain't going to have a job.
Yeah, and the non-compete contracts only come into places where intellectual property danger or customer theft danger, stuff like firms have non-compete agreements and all this. The non-compete not apply to hourly wage employees.
Right. He doesn't get it. I'm telling you, it's these teenagers that are working behind the counter that are trying to make Biden look like a fool, so they're telling him this shit. And then he's going back out and saying, oh, yeah, it's a fact.
Well, but come on, does it really surprise you considering he's never actually worked a real job in his life? He's always been in government.
Yeah. Oh, what I said was speculation, by the way. I don't want people to think that Biden, I know that Biden goes to these burger joints and lets little kids influence his.
Yeah.
Yeah, here comes the fact check. Anyway, so, but the reality is, like, when was the last time you actually saw a teenager working behind the register at one of these? Not up there, but down here, I'm pretty sure 90% of the staff at these fast food places is illegal immigrants.
There's a few that I go to where they're, I mean, yeah, you're right. There are a lot of them, but yeah, like when I go to like Whataburger or whatever, it's like a Black American or a little high school kid. So
I never thought much of Whataburger when I was down in Texas.
It's not that great, like.
Or what's the one in California that's now moving out? That's
In-N-Out. That place is disgusting.
I never saw what the big. Everybody raves about it. When I went there, I never saw the big deal about it. And they always say, well, there's almost nothing on the menu. Well, there's a secret menu. You go online and there's hundreds of things on the secret menu that you find online.
If you need to have a secret menu, then you need to have.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why would you make it a secret menu that you have to go online to find? Why wouldn't you just have the menu there so people can use it?
Yeah, right.
When I was in California, my buddy said, oh, yeah, make sure you go online and go to the secret menu because there's all this other stuff you can actually order. It's like, what?
Well, calling it a secret menu is kind of like calling Hunter Biden's parts private.
Yeah.
Did you guys realize there was a hearing going on yesterday about that? The Hunter Biden laptop and the Twitter scandal? That's what we should be talking about.
But it's not supposed to be about Joe. But they're kind of just getting going. There really hasn't been anything like
Yeah, no, we found out that Twitter is works for the government, which everybody already knew. But it's good that
exactly
everybody is getting it stuck into their heads so that they know that that's not what Section 230 was all about,
right?
And that's what the purpose of these committees is to fix these f-ups and make laws as a legislation to go to the idiot's desk who will probably veto it. But that's the purpose of these committees, not what they're doing with January 6th. It was like, because what came of the January 6th committee? Nothing, right? So
yeah.
I mean,
nothing. They are the Department of Justice for a criminal probe because they don't actually have the authority to do anything to Trump.
Well, and it was a completely biased committee too. So
yeah, like cross-examination.
Exactly.
And and the reality is, like, it's stupid.
Mhm.
The whole. So anyway, so
But he
we spent
also
like
went in to talk.
we talked for
He,
35 minutes about the fact that Biden's an idiot.
wait,
But I
because he was saying, he was talking about the top 1% paying less in taxes than a school teacher, which is completely and totally false. According to the Tax Foundation, in 2020, the bottom half of taxpayers earned 10.2% of total annual gross income and paid 2.3% of all federal individual income taxes. The top 1% earned 22.2% of the total annual gross income and paid 42.3% of all federal income taxes.
right.
And that's from the taxfoundation.org.
Yeah, and
So I mean, I could go on
it's actually
further and list those.
higher. So the
And I
the
found that
reality.
by looking on Google, and Google is a leftist fucking
Yeah.
rag.
So the reality is 50 some companies that paid no taxes that they used to cite that were given specific, so they paid no taxes by liberals
Right.
for 50 companies. If they did a survey across all companies, like you can go to their earnings statements and see exactly how they pay in taxes. Like Exxon, for example, yeah, they made $10 billion in taxes.
Just because of the people that they employ?
No, that was their direct tax liability on that $30 billion in revenue in taxes, and that was with being able to write off a ton of upgrades, because they are still working on upgrading their existing refinery plants and stuff to do winterization. They had to do a bunch of work, retrofit the ethanol changes that Biden made, thinking that using our foods is a good decision. Like, that already blew up in our face once when Bush did it. Like, I don't know if you remember the big push on ethanol. That was actually
Oh yeah,
George Bush.
Yeah.
I remember seeing all the ethanol trucks and vehicles coming out that were dual fuel, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Right.
what's the point of this?
So-
It's so dumb. You're taking food out of the food out of this food supply and switching into fuel.
Right. So so yeah, like, about the State of the Union just proved that he doesn't know how anything works, and that he thinks Republicans are bad, and he thinks unity means you do what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He screamed a lot too. I don't know why. Why does he always have to scream about nothing?
Oh well, he's
About
not
the
always
dumbest shit.
because he gets into his speech. He doesn't always scream because he gets into his speech and goes, "And if they send that bill to me, I'll veto it." It's like,
Right.
oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he was screaming about wanting to know. He was screaming about wanting to know of one world leader that would switch places with Xi Jinping. I'm like, Justin Trudeau.
dude. I figured out where.
It's like,
Yeah, honestly, tell me. I'm like, why are you so angry?
it's like, yeah, like in the middle of your State of the Union, the people out in the seats are going to stand up and go, well, this leader and this leader and this leader. Like, come on, you're in the middle of the
Like seriously, Justin Trudeau. How about Richie Sunak? I mean, there's plenty of them out
many
there
liberal
that
leaders.
admires.
Many liberal leaders have used China as the example of what the U.S. should become.
Mhm.
So if you're going to point at leaders, then let's go to the Democratic Party and the way left, like AOC and stuff, and go, okay, who wants to change places with the leaders in China and tighten the grip around the U.S. citizens?
Yeah. You know, somebody should have. Dude, it would have been epic if Marjorie Taylor Greene would have stood up and shouted, "Joe."
Boy, Rob's been real
Yeah.
silent.
I mean, it was bad enough. She was
Well,
like, Biden didn't apologize for this, and pulls out a fucking balloon and puts it on fucking Twitter. I'm like,
I
what?
keep talking. That keeps happening.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Rob.
No, I had a great joke about the Joe Biden whisper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he developed it while he was in the shower with Ashley, and he perfected it while sniffing hair.
Nice.
How did you get a hold of the fucking diary?
But plenty's been covered on it. Anyway,
You know,
so that's my
I will
theory
say
about
though,
his
I did
whisper.
listen to.
Now,
Yeah.
well, I was just gonna say, like, the next I wanted to first because, well, I mean, it's Trump, and I
All right.
promise.
Hold it right there. Stand by. Revelers,
So,
like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe, hit that little notification bell, leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing, and so you can rant and yell at Rob for making fun of Trump.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, switch over to Rumble and watch us on Rumble.
Yes, because Rumble cares about their.
Well, they like
They're
to get
people.
they like to let people say the facts and the truth and actually let people talk rather than
That's
saying
true.
what we don't
And
like
we
what
need
you
to-
say, even though it's true. So we're gonna ding you.
And we need
And
to
they're
help
the
build
first
this platform so we don't all rely on YouTube. Go ahead.
and
Yeah.
they're the first
Yeah, Rob.
platform to pay.
The first platform, what?
To monetize us.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I was gonna say, did any of you guys watch this Sarah Huckabee Sanders rebuttal of the State of the Union, and what do you think of it?
We're going to talk about Sarah after we talk about Trump.
Yeah, Trump said some stupid shit.
Basically,
Okay, go for it.
so what
Yeah, I
Trump
know.
did is
Make me laugh.
what
I'm like, oh my
Republicans
God.
did all during the, like, what after not getting the supermajority it's supposed to get, because all they did was whine. You know, basically, they did the reverse never Trumper. They're like, bad. Biden does this. Biden bad. Like, it's fucking Orange Man bad all over again. Like, dude, being a whiny bitch like the Democrats were for 4 years of your presidency, the leader. In his complaining about everything that Biden's done wrong, he offered options. None. He didn't offer anything substantive. Talk about his inflation. Okay, great. So how are we going to reduce the inflation? Okay, I don't know. Maybe every dollar that we raise the debt ceiling, the next year's budget has to be cut by 2.
Yeah, I was not impressed.
That's
with
a
Trump's
policy proposal
rebuttal.
that does something. He talks about the offer how to fix it, which for him it should have been easy. Do what I did. Just put my policies back in place. They work.
Yeah.
Finish the wall. Yes, walls aren't perfect. People can go over. They can go under. A lot slower than an open border. Like, you can still get through that door and break in, but they'll get in a lot faster if you leave your house. You know? But he didn't bother saying that. He just lived. It only seemed like it was like 10 or 15 minutes, or maybe it was just that boring that it didn't seem like it had any substance to it.
Wasn't Trump's response like 5 minutes, if that?
But he just didn't have anything to say. We already know, like, how we don't need to listen to him whine for another 2-year campaign. If he needs to start talking substance and not just Biden bad.
Or DeSantis. We're gonna hear plenty about all the candidates, and Trump's trying to draw first blood. But seriously, he doesn't need to do that right now, and we don't need to hear that right now. What we need to hear is what he has planned
Yeah.
and how he's going to accomplish
Well,
it.
if he is seriously running, he needs to step up and start saying some stuff rather than just Biden's bad, Biden's bad, Biden's bad.
Or how about
It's like
this?
say something.
Or how about this? Leader, if you're a leader on your team and you say you're particularly like your quarterback, are you going to sit there and complain about what your quarterback does wrong, or are you going to? So if Trump's the leader, he should be saying, we should do this. Hey, Joe, maybe we should do that. Let's not wait 2 years until I can try and get the presidency back because Americans are suffering now.
Well, okay, as a little bit of pushback to you on that one. Do you think Biden would take any of his suggestions?
No, but that's really not the point.
Then that's his fault.
Doing it.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I was just trying to give you a little bit of pushback to see what you said about that, because there's other questions that would come up.
If you were given the answer and you don't use it, that's like if you were given the answers to the test but you don't use them, not on the test.
Right.
And that's not. They didn't give you the wrong answers. You just didn't use the answers you got.
Yeah.
So that's what I got to say on that. Sanders, Joe Biden.
I'm just I'd say I'm just saying I'm
what are you
as
doing?
you all know, I'm not a big Trump supporter for this campaign coming up or this elections years. I think it's time for him to move aside and let somebody else take up. But I was very, very disappointed and under-impressed with his little 2 to 5 minute response. Just like, and it was so scripted. It was obvious that it was 100% scripted. He didn't go off at all. It was just like blah 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 blah. It's just like, come on, Trump.
You know, my thing is, I don't know why we're taking these things so seriously. Do you know what the State of the Union is? When you walk out your door, do you know what the State of the Union is?
Horrible.
Yeah, it is.
The State of the Union is us, right? It's our state. It's how we are doing, and it's because of his leadership why we're doing so poorly and why we are so divided.
Yep.
So I'm with Ben, because Ben Shapiro on this, and I'm not a super big fan of Ben. I mean, I love what he's doing, and I love what the Daily Wire is doing, and there's other hosts on there that I like way more than Ben. But this is where I'm like, yeah, you're right. The State of the Union is just a bunch of BS. Like, all they need to do is what George Washington did back in the day and write a letter to Congress and give it to them and call it a day and let them know what the State of the Union is in a letter. Instead of making a big old fanfare, stand up and applause because I'm lying to the American people, you know? And the same, and then why? Okay, so you mean to tell me that we went and had the State of the Union, and then we had a rebuttal from Trump, and then we had a rebuttal from Huckabee Sanders, and then we had a rebuttal from a Spanish guy?
I didn't see that.
What are they conserving? Like, this is something that Michael Knowles brings up. Like, what are we as conservatives? What are we conserving? Like, why do you, in America, the number one language is English. Why do you need to have it in Spanish? You've got the SAP button. You've got captions.
Which they are trying to win over a lot of the Hispanic community, which is becoming very conservative. So, I mean, yeah, we would love for the official language in the U.S. to be English, but the fact is it's not.
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, I see what you're saying, and I see where you're going with that. Now, let me ask you a question. Was there a State of the Union in Spanish? So the Democrats are conserving more than the conservatives are. The Spanish rebuttal was basically virtue signaling to the people that are like left of center, a little left of center.
But C-SPAN did broadcast it with simultaneous translation. So yes, it was broadcasted in Spanish. Like if that was the point you were getting to, it was broadcasted in Spanish. It was probably also other languages on specialty channels.
No. The Republicans had an additional one after Sarah Huckabee Sanders with a Spanish
I know.
guy. So what I'm saying is, did we do that for the State of the Union? Did the Democrats do that for the State of the Union? And the answer is no. They might have.
They translated it, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't. They didn't have Biden stand up there and say it again in Spanish, which he's so brainless he couldn't do anyways.
Right.
Which I'm not saying that's bad because I couldn't do it either. I don't speak Spanish, so.
Yeah, but when I would speak at business conferences in Russia, what I said in Russian, they had simultaneous translation.
Yeah.
So, which was always interesting that I was speaking in English, and then everybody, half the audience that didn't speak English, had headphones in, so they could, instead of like,
just like they do at the UN. They do that at the UN and all those other conferences where people meet together and
the earpieces in.
Don't all speak the same language.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, so that was that. I didn't like that she did the meandering stories, exactly like Joe Biden. Like, did you all notice that? She kept like working in all these, and like we kind of know who Sarah Huckabee Sanders is. So we've probably heard most of these stories. We pay that much attention to her because, like, I didn't like her dad, and so I don't really care about her. I thought she was a press secretary. I had no idea she became a governor until election night, and I saw that she was the candidate. You know what I mean? Like, I just saw, like, Deliverance. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I do like Sarah. I think she's a strong female leader. I thought she was awesome as the press secretary. I think you couldn't have done any better as a press secretary for Trump. I mean, that's a hard position to fill, following Trump and trying to talk for him.
Okay, so let me narrow this down more. It's a response to this everybody, and she was talking about herself. Narcissistic much?
That is a good point. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, she was talking about herself in a political sense.
I liked her. Of course, I like her father too. I didn't support him when he was running for president, but I've gotten to know him a lot better since that point. If he ran again, I might even look at supporting him, even though I think there's some stronger people out there, like what the UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, which I know Rob loved.
Yeah, I'm like until today, she was going to be my preferred choice for president. But anyways,
until today, what happened today?
I'll get to that in a second. So she did kind of the same thing. Bunch of Biden bad. Okay, great. We heard that from Never Trumpers for prior to that. If your only argument is on not giving me anything, and so it was the same thing. The one policy solution mentioned was paying teachers more. Okay, I think we need to cap administrators because administrators are making way too much, and I've seen it like when Michael when Reagan specifically when she was going to her school, was outnumbered the teachers.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the problems we see in public schools over private is public schools have so much administration. There's like way more administration than there are teachers, and every person in administration has a secretary. The secretary has a secretary, and the secretary of the secretary has a secretary. It's like, come on, why do you need so much freaking administration? Cut administration, put it more towards the classrooms.
And raises should be like they are in the private sector.
Yeah, they should be earned, not just given because they've been there for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So but that was the one policy subscription she had, was ruining our children for the last 20 years she wants to give them all raises for failing.
Right.
Complain about people failing up and then reward them for failing.
Well, I think you need to. I think you need to go more into, because I think, yes, you can give teachers raises, but it needs to be earned, not just given away. And there needs to be more. And I think didn't she mention school choice and how they opened that up in Arkansas?
Yeah, like, but she was still talking about qualifying. Let's get rid of tenure and make sure all raises are performance based.
Yeah.
Maybe standardized tests aren't people failing this or aren't racist. Maybe the races underperforming aren't effort, because the Smithsonian went out there and said hard work is racist. Being on time to class, well, that's racist. That's colonial. Like, attack everything that makes you successful in anything, and then like is ignorance at best. At best.
Can we bring that a lot around to the administration issue again? So what if we paid teachers more, gave them raises based on what you were saying, and pulled money away from the administrators to give them incentive to put out a decent curriculum and make sure that the teachers were succeeding?
Okay, you cannot have tenure-based raises. It has to be performance-based.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. The administration is a lot. So you make sure that you're paying the teachers, to do their job and have it performance based. So if you 90% of your class is passing, while this other teacher has got 65% of her class as passing, the one who has 75% is gonna get the raise and not the is what you're saying.
I mean, you can literally have 50% of your class failing, which a 50% failure rate is and if you go and complete another degree, how does that make sense? You can be a
I don't know. I didn't catch most of that. You broke up.
So the way it works, if they go get another certification or they go get an additional degree, they automatically. Why does that make any sense? If they're like the worst teacher in the world,
right?
That degree, they're still going to get a raise,
right?
If they you get what I'm saying? You can fail out like 70% of your teachers for 10 years, but you're going to get a huge year. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to start a new political.
Oh, Jesus. Forgot about that.
It's going to be the FT's assholes.
Say that again.
But I've got a good platform. We want to get inflation under control. Local budget, including the military. Stop doing a separate separate the military budget in the event of a full scale war, which we have no scale war since fucking Vietnam. So the mid part of the budget, when you write your budget for your household, you don't write your budget and then write another separate you want or need. It's included in your budget. So they need to put that shit all together, and 5% less than projected revenues for that year. Period. That's my platform there. Needs to be free market. Period. Like, whether that's private schooling and they go, or they're just able to move to different whatever. Okay. Closed border. Like, walls aren't perfect, but we need it across our entire border. Like at the south of us, thinks a wall works great for them. It should probably work pretty good for us. Once that wall's up, then the immigration problem becomes pretty easy. The UN standard is if you're a refugee, you apply for get here, get to. So unless you're applying for asylum and you're from Mexico or you're from Canada, which I mean, I some Canadians with Trudeau up there. Asylum application denied. Country they could actually make the argument for asylum is Haitians, and only if they come straight across the water to get to Florida, because anywhere else get here and they had to apply for asylum in the first country they got to.
Yeah, I guess if you're swimming across the freaking canal, you're being persecuted.
Yeah. So I mean, if the government was coming after me in my country, I'd swim across whatever I had to swim across. You know what I mean? But that would literally be the standard that they would have to meet for asylum. So, and that's not to like about it, but that is the international standard. You apply for asylum in the first country you get to. Actual asylum. Most of these people aren't like actually fleeing asylum. Like half them had asylum in another country and then they came here with their documents from the new country that they were living. They wanted a better opportunity. Sorry, that's not asylum. That's you want more. Okay, then you can. The other part of that is, people working in this country should have the opportunity to live in, so they can contribute to the whole paycheck and go home. So when we do issue these permits, they need to have a path to residency and citizenship, because we are working and be part of the system. So the way we treat like the voting, like they don't have a path to citizenship for the migrant work ops. Like, you know that, right? Like they give them a to go back in 6 months and come back next year for the next season. Overstaying their visas and becoming illegal immigrants anyways. So since these are people that are actually willing to be given the opportunity to work legally, they need a path to citizenship. The dreamers, okay, well, I may sympathize with the idea that they didn't have. If you, Brad, if you go and you rob a bank, your daughter doesn't get to keep the money because she didn't have a choice in the robbery, right?
Mm-hmm. Nope.
So the idea that dreamers should have a path to criminals is stupid. Shouldn't have to go back to a country that they don't remember. No, their parents should not have brought them here, but they still need to. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
If these are now, if we want to give them a chance here, okay, great. They can go back to their country and wait for their visa to be processed. Grant does when they come here legally, because there are a lot of good, high quality people that process that isn't even going on because our system is too busy processing people that tried to jump the line. If we get all these immigration, judges and naturalization employees on illegal immigrants cases, they might have more time to process, actually respect our laws, and are trying to do it the right way. So that's my fix on immigrants. The handouts in this country, like they call them entitlement. Stop calling them entitlement programs. Call them what they are: government handout programs. Nobody, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Everybody has an equal opportunity to make something of their life. Great. We have a short safety net. When the tightrope walker falls, he doesn't live in the net for the rest of his life. He gets the fuck out of it and he gets back up there on the wire. So like temporary aid for needy families, great. 60-day limit. $1 million in assets, they don't get Social Security. They don't get Medicare. They don't get Medicaid. We need to get rid of no-fault divorce. You know what that's going to do? We're going to have a whole lot more kids learning things because they have two parents in the home. And this applies to straight people because while I see people being gay as a sin, I don't think the government has any business. The church wants to recognize gay marriage and marry two gay people. It's none of my fucking business because it's their government's business what they're doing in their life. Unless it directly for their fucking citizen, none of the government's business. Fucking 20% flat taxes for earners over 18 years old, making over $20,000 a year. And I put it at that point because fucking if you're making less than 25 in anyways, I don't think you need to defend the government. You need to feed. If you do a 20% flat tax, guess how many audits there need to be? None.
So then,
like,
how many IRS agents would you need?
Probably, you'd probably still need, a couple thousand just to go through return to bank reporting, ensure that they're reporting, because there are people that do try and sidestep it.
I know you don't like it. I like the consumption.
Huh?
I know you don't like it. I love the consumption tax.
It's not fair to poor people.
I disagree.
It's very fair to fat people.
Here's the reason why it's not fair. Okay,
we have a bunch of Ethiopians running around.
A rent spends 1% of their income. A poor person spends 100% of their income. It's taxed on 1% of their income on the consumption tax, but a poor person gets taxed on 100% fair.
I don't feel like
everybody needs to be taxed on 100% of their income.
I know. Give me a few pieces.
And there, Brian, and if you're doing a sales tax, it is way too exemptions on an income tax. It is way too hard. So it's just easier to do a flat tax. Tons of countries around the world operate on all the fucking loopholes. We're gonna have all the money we fucking need. We would have one of the lowest corporate tax rates. Should eliminate corporate taxes, so we don't keep paying taxes over and over on the same item before it ever gets. Eliminate the death tax because the government already fucking taxed that shit. They don't have a right to double dip, a right to build up wealth and pass it on to your children. You paid the taxes when you earned that money. Oh, and after they get that wall, we can have us set up on basically like diplomatic land on the Mexican side of the border, asylum claims from there. So they never have to cross here to try and get asylum. We can border. Law enforcement. Okay. The blue. Law enforcement committing perjury. They shoot that perjury, and a conviction strips them of their qualified immunity. So if they lied to a FISA court, or they lied in court, and the person that they damaged with their lies can sue them for those damages. No more prosecutorial discretion. If a crime charged with the crime, if they're not guilty, the court, the jury will fucking decide. But your job as a prosecute is to prosecute. Your job title is not maybe prosecute. You with me on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And abuse of authority by police or bureaucrats should be charged as treason, all permits, and this goes across fucking all businesses, building a fucking house, everything. They all have, the government has 30 days. If they deny it, they have to have actual legitimate legal reasons for denying it. They can appeal it to a court and get their permit. Thing. Oh yeah, and if a law has a crime reported to them, and they don't, they should be charged with treason because they're not enforcing the Constitution and the laws of our country.
Okay, are you done?
I'm trying to think. Did I miss anything?
Get off that soapbox, Rob. We're an hour and 11 minutes and 15 seconds into this, okay? You just literally went off on your whole fuck these assholes party for almost 12 minutes.
Yeah, so anyways, my version of the state of the West, almost every problem we have in this country, and actually gave solutions.
All right.
That was the point of my rant. And I did it.
No, you're bait. Just tell everybody you're running for president. Throw your name out there.
Yeah. Trump, I'm coming for you, man.
He's turned the frogs gay.
Okay, the reality is I don't want people in my life, my private life, so I'd never actually run for office. But hey, anybody who actually wants to be in the fucking platform, I guarantee you win.
Let's go buy an island.
So, was there anything
Well,
else
Rob's
there?
moving to an island.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to push the propaganda till tomorrow because we are already over an hour.
No, but did you see though that the New York City mayor spent the night in that shelter?
Yeah,
to show these persecuted immigrants who had it worse off down there than they had up here, that it was not too bad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
like seriously, you had it so bad back where you came from that you're gonna bitch about living in our shelter?
None of them had it that fucking bad.
Well, like
They're not asylum
people that are living there.
And so now they're paying them to go wherever else they want to go in the country.
Dude, everybody that's here is cartels or had a ton of money to pay the cartels. The majority of the fucking people here seeking the cartel members to get in. I wouldn't be surprised if 10% of that's being held for the big guy.
No, my point was just to go back to what you said about the immigrants and shit and the people that, like, dude, do you see any Cubans that came over here and fucking were complaining about where they were living?
Nope.
No. What about Iraqis or Afghanis?
And like I mentioned, along there in Texas, you can go and look how people live in. And you know what? I've got another suggestion. I bet you Mexican controls the flow across their border is to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Them are coming here to exploit our market to send money back to their family there. So not only are they not contributing to the system, they're wrong. Or they're sending the money to the cartels because they own.
Alrighty. So
how am I Brian G? How Brian G?
I don't know. I don't know how you did that.
Probably one thing screwed up here.
Last time you were kicked off, you came back as Brian G.
Oh, there you go.
It happens.
Weren't you wearing that yesterday?
Brian G for at least 40 minutes.
It was all blue. That was the blue with gray.
Oh dear God!
Or no, I was wearing the green one yesterday.
I liked it better.
Oh yeah, you were wearing a green one. Yeah, that's right.
I think I liked it better when he was just talking.
Yeah. It should have just had blue right versus left up there too. You You got to do it
I
like this,
couldn't
like
find it,
right
that's
in
why I
front of
didn't.
your body. Otherwise, it disappears.
That still disappears.
In front of your body. Do it in front of your body. There you go. See?
There you go. That's
See,
that's
your
a
finger's gone.
that's some love for
Right
you,
in front
Beef.
of your face.
Anyway,
Oh, look, a floating
so
hand.
Rob, did you see when Brad was getting
Oh.
real? Did you see how personal Brad was getting with his mic there for a little while? He was in there stroking it. It's like, Brad, Jesus Christ.
I was like, come on. Look,
no,
watch it go.
when you weren't seeing me, I wasn't seeing you.
Okay, guys,
Yeah,
question.
I know.
Question. All right. Is it colored pencils or coloring
Did we get-
pencils?
Huh?
Both
Which is it? Colored pencils or coloring pencils?
colored or coloring.
I've actually seen it both on the boxes.
Yeah,
I've always seen colored, and I've always wondered when are they going to cancel that? Because it should be coloring pencils, right? Because you cut. Otherwise, it's like just different colored pencils, right?
Yeah,
So the
because
lead
they are
inside is normal.
colored.
The
They are
lead
different
inside is
colored
normal. It's not colored, right?
No, colored pencils, the lead inside is colored.
No, those are coloring pencils. You color with them.
Oh dear God.
You can't say colored. You
They're colored
racist.
pencils.
No.
Okay,
I get
so
what you're saying.
I have an
Dude, we're left here. Let's not go into the whole race thing. I mean, that's the left
No,
thing.
that's what I was
Left is
trying to
all
get.
about
That's what I was
race
getting at.
and sexuality.
That's what
So
I was
I do
getting at when I was
have
like,
an issue. I do have an issue with the phrase "colored." People ever call other races colored? When we're born, we're fucking blue. We're fucking blue, or we turn green. If we get beat up, we're black and blue and green. Sunburned, we're red, and we're calling other fucking people fucking colored. Like that shit's stupid.
no, we're becoming coloring. We're not colored.
Coloring
No, but that's
people.
like I was just wondering when they were going to cancel colored pencils and call them and be like, no, they have to be called coloring pencils. That's like okay, when Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig first came out, right? Every commercial
You mean
had a woman in it, right? An overweight woman, right? Every commercial. You never saw anything about men, right?
the alley?
Well, so one day I saw one of those commercials, right? So I fucking call him up and I'm like, dude, this is fucking stupid. I'm like, what if a guy is fat and wants to lose weight? Do they want to help them out? So I call him up and I fucking went in. It was like a crank caller. I was like, hey man, do you guys help men lose weight or is it all women? And they're like, oh no, we help men. I'm like, well, how come I don't see any men on there trying to lose weight? If you guys help men lose weight, you guys just is it just exclusively you want to make money off of women, or women the only people that get fat? And the chick was like, I don't know. That's a good question. So I was like, I don't need it. I weigh like fucking 90 pounds. So like, I was just wondering because I just saw your commercial. So what, you guys don't help guys?
I actually do have.
And then like 3 weeks later, they started fucking doing men in their commercials. I was like,
Brian,
WTF?
Change the course of advertising. Maybe
No,
you should start
just
corporations and tell them to stop doing woke fucking ads.
I just started noticing that they had men in their. They had always had men in their commercials, but I it's kind of like when you drive that car that you're driving. All of a sudden, you start seeing more of those cars around,
Yeah,
because you noticed that car. So that's not what happened,
Yeah.
obviously. But
I think I should go back to Avatar though, because we like went from 3 viewers to 1 viewer as soon as.
Yeah.
must be your girl.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go Blake too.
Hi, honey, love you.
So,
All right.
She's
All
like,
right,
no,
guys.
no, I'm more likely to
Tomorrow
watch it
we
if
are
you're
going to
on.
talk about propaganda. We're going to talk about propaganda tomorrow. We were going to talk about it today, but we weren't really long. The state of our union. A, we're not a union, and B, shit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So-
it was dumb. All of them.
Rob B
horrible.
for president.
Oh dear God.
I'm gonna. You guys are my explore that shit for me.
We're in desperate straits now. Rob B for president.
That reminds me
Got
of
any
It's
problem
Always
with any of my
Sunny in Philadelphia.
policies? Do you policies?
The
Your
skin
policies?
anyone who does something wrong.
We kind
and
of heard
goes
everything.
on the street with no skin on policy.
Yeah. Hey,
Nuke 'em all.
I'm far and away better potential candidates for 2024 because I actually have policies.
Yeah, nuke them all. Nuke them all. Donkey shows for everyone.
What am I? Oh, I was gonna say.
Where is it? Or caribou shows.
Rob, how did you? Reindeer.
I need to make a video of reindeer, reindeer, caribou.
Reindeer.
Caribou.
Anyway, if
Platypus.
you
See, I can do it too.
like, if you say it. Okay, if you enjoy our content, make sure you hit the like button so we can get Brad. Don't forget to subscribe, share us with your friends, because we don't get us. We're all kind of assholes, except for Brian.
Yep.
He's just a leftist sympathizer.
Asshole.
Hey guys, thanks as always for joining the conversation. You guys can all reach out at Gmail, and find us on pretty much any platform. Guys, you guys have anything else before we sign off?
Negative Ghost Rider.
Rob
Y'all
and
stay
Jackass.
free.
Y'all know it. We're still live.
Rick? Yeah, we're still live.
Yeah, this thing is so